Hello, everybody. John Friedel, Professor Slots, and it looks like we are up and running. Let me make sure that I have
Hello, everybody.
a way to.
John Friedel, Professor. I don't know about you, but I.
So, just a few technical setups here that I need to do to make sure I know where I am at. There's more than a few things going on here. What I'd like to get to is this place which tells me, skip that. Okay, come on now. Events, live control room, that's what I want. I am live now. Awesome. There we are. Okay. Info and settings. Right. No reason why we shouldn't just get started here. I want to check to see if I have. I do apologize. It's a. There's a way to do this where I can see chat messages. I have a good stream status. I've been up for 45 seconds. There's 5 concurrent. And where are the chats? Live chat. Well, right. Guess that's good enough. Apologize for the late start. This is my very first going live, and it certainly is an interesting technical experience. But we're here I'm starting a regular Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, question and answer sessions for anything slots related. As you may know, I have a website, podcast, a YouTube channel that hasn't gotten a lot of use. That's all going to change. And particularly with going live on every weekend on Saturday at 2 o'clock. One question, if you want to comment below, is 2 o'clock Eastern Time a good time? I didn't want to do it in the evening on Saturdays. That would maybe interfere with people going to the casino, and wouldn't want to do that. So let's see. Make sure I can be heard. Okay. So I thought it'd be a good place to start with just a brief overview of what I have to offer, where you might have been coming from. I've mentioned on my podcast that I would be going live on YouTube, my most recent episode. And I also put this a new schedule on my website. So let's see if I can show you some of these things. And post my schedule. Whoa, what is that? I'd hoped to be able to share images, and it was working just fine. So what I'm doing here is 3 different things. I'm recording this so that I can share it with people who can't make it. It's going to be going out as an audio recording on my next podcast, assuming I'm technically up and running. The next thing is to put this up on YouTube live so that, hello, you can see me. The third thing is I'm trying something a little unusual. I'm also going live on Facebook right now. On my because I have many Facebook groups, which I wanted to show you that. Don't really seem to have that ability right now. Uh, just not, it's not happening. Despite my attempts. That's too bad. Right, I'm on Facebook. I have 57 Facebook groups, which is a bit much and a bit difficult at times, particularly as I grow. But I'll be fine. What I'm trying to do there is build community, and a lot of people are on Facebook. So I started a Facebook group for each state. So Arizona, Alabama, all the way alphabetically to Wyoming, including the U.S. territories. A lot of gambling going on in a couple of them, and not much at all on a couple others. And our federal district, which just got sports betting. Oof. So if you want to find those, you go to facebook.com/PS period, and then the state's name. No spaces, no dashes. So facebook.com/PS period Arizona for the Arizona slots community. And feel free to sign up. If you go to professorslots.com/schedule, you will see a link to all of those different states towards the bottom. The top is my schedule. And let me see if I can pull that up. Make one more attempt to make that available for you. No, I do not want that. What I'm trying to do here is share images with software, and there's this software and that software and this software and that software, and some of it allows me to have video, hello, and some of it allows me to have sound, hello, and some of it lets me have screen captures, which aren't working, but they were 5 minutes ago. So I will jump in here and see if I can maybe figure out a quick way to share some of this stuff. Because images are great. I mean, I'm fine with just being here talking to you, but by golly, why not do this too? So several things I want to do here. Analytics. All right. Well, we will just keep going. Oh, Catherine, you had a comment. I found the chat window. What is your best advice for someone with a very low budget and only gets to gamble about once every 2 months? Maybe I'm kind of turning my head here, so I will bring this over so I can see it at the same time. By the way, hello, Catherine. It's been nice chatting with you, and I'm glad that you're the first chat message on live for me. Congratulations. You're a winner. What is your best advice for someone with a very low budget and only gets to gamble about once every 2 months? Golden rule. The golden rule that I have for going to the casino and playing slots is only spend as much as you can afford to lose. The assumption, I just saw another comment. That's awesome. I wondered about that this morning myself. Ohio State started their game about 2 hours ago, and I'm in Ohio, so we shall see what works out as a better time. But for now, the golden rule is to not spend, not take to the casino anything more than you can afford to lose. People seem to climb onto that boat of, well, I need to have more and more money, and no, it isn't. You just play within your means. So one of the equations that I have, one of the suggestions that I make is if you want to try out a slot machine, then you need to make somewhere between 100 and 120 bets. So if you have a $2,000 bankroll. I mean, who has a $2,000 bankroll? Some high limits, I'm sure. But that means that you can play higher and higher denominations, bigger and bigger bets, and still get that 100 to 120 bets in to see how well you're going to do on the slot machine. You're welcome, Catherine. And but if you have $100, or as a friend of mine at work has said, a roll of quarters, then you want to play something that allows you still to get 100 to 120 bets in. So if you had $1, then you bet one credit on a penny machine, and you get 100 bets. That, you have to kind of get away from the idea that it's really exciting to risk, large amounts that you can't afford to lose. You're there for entertainment, and that's not entertaining. I don't think. So, staying away from the problem gambling stuff. Whatever you decide that you want to take to the casino to lose, and if something else happens, that's fine, but we have to remember the golden rule, then just divide that by 100. Whatever that number is, if it's $100, divide it by 100, and you've got $1. So you can make $1 bets. Now, is this a quarter machine with 3 credits or 4 credits? Say 4 credits, 3 credits a little more common. 4 credits, then you're making $1 bets with a 4 credit bet on a quarter machine. And you can get 100 bets out of that. And that should be enough to evaluate a slot machine. If you want to last longer with $100, then you're going to have to bet less. You might have to bet 1 credit on a quarter machine. How long are you going to be at the casino? 3 hours? That sort of thing. $500 for 4 days with bets around 50 cents. Part of that is how long. Thank you, Catherine, for the additional information. Yeah, that works. I mean, the people who make $5 bets with that $500, it doesn't last long. Also, that's the general rule. Now, you can try, if you see a winning strategy, of which there are many, 7, 8, then you can try, you build some confidence that that's what's going on. Then you can risk your bankroll, which you still should assume you're going to lose, even if you don't. You can risk your bankroll to see what would happen because you have some evidence that something might work, like 4 o'clock in the morning after a major holiday, or a busy night after they gave away a car the night before, the next morning early, other things that I talk about on my website. And at that point, you're not there at the casino for a 3-hour session. You're there to see if you can walk away with a jackpot. And I actually don't find that very enjoyable. I mean, that's making money, okay? And you go in, you do your thing, and you leave, and it's about 10 minutes. And when you're making money, it's not as enjoyable as entertaining yourself. Nowhere in there was a dinner. Nowhere in there was, just playing for a long time. It's a different thing. What do you mean saying a worthwhile machine? Well, actually, I want to go back to the prior comment. P-ball, I'm probably pronouncing that terribly. Yes, after college football season would be a better time, but this is going to be recorded if you have a live comment, and people can always email me at john@professorslots.com, where John is spelled Jon, and we can do this around the football season. But, there's a football season, there's March Madness, and I'm going to be skipping entire months. I don't think so. So people need to know some of the stuff that I talk about, so or want to know, I should say. So we will see if there's a better time, but right now have to maybe give a survey or something, do this for a couple of weeks and give out a poll. What do you mean saying a worthwhile machine? Right. So there's 2 things that are going on at a casino. One is to not recognize the patterns, to not have any patterns at a particular casino. The easiest way to really describe this is to consider something back before 2012. More than 7 years ago, before the software came out that made all the changes in the operating system at the casino, there is, machines were random in the same way for 2 weeks, before they had to be adjusted by the casino to meet their state gaming requirements. A little up, a little down. There's always been settings on slot machines. And what are those settings? Let's see, 8 concurrent viewers, 22 playbacks. I have to check the stream status to make sure I'm not breaking up and it still says good. That was one of my biggest concerns. Is I'm out there in farmland, but I recently got upgraded to better broadband, and I was like, oh, I could go live. But let's see, where we're talking about 20 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, everything was random, and it wouldn't really change for maybe 2 weeks, and maybe the machine would be updated to one of 6 other possible settings when a slot machine mechanic would come and open it up, and adjust the settings, close it, and it's good for another couple of weeks, 7 to 10 days, whatever. And that's how it used to be before these new operating systems came out, and casinos kind of took off all over the state. I mean, it was just Nevada, and then it became wasn't just Nevada, just then New Jersey, then Atlantic City became not as important when things really took off on the East Coast, and now we've got almost every state, not every state, but almost every state with these things. So there's been a progression, and one of the biggest problems that casinos has had is just not having enough people, and it costs so much to have that many people, and even then it's hard to handle the crowds. So they automated. And the automation got rid of individuals, slot machinists, slot mechanics, opening these doors and changing the odds, and now it became remote. It became something that can be done daily. And that's one of the questions that I have saved for discussion if we get to that. And so all this, what I'm saying here, is that before there used to be maybe a machine that was set up to win, that was invisible, that was visible from a distance. The casino had a budget, and they set it up to win for a short amount of time. I did that in 2004. It was shocking. To have that experience, got me thinking about all this stuff for quite a while, and now it is automated. And when you have automation, you have patterns. If they're going to adjust the odds on multiple times per day, then that means that you can go in at different times of the day, and your odds will be better or worse. Because that can happen, you can figure out when that is. You can figure out whether mornings are better on Mondays and afternoons are better on Tuesdays, because once you realize it's possible, then you can determine when those times are. And that's how you improve your odds. You're already at 92%, some places 89% payout return. So all you need is another 10%, and suddenly you're making money on average over a long term. Okay, right. What do you mean about worthwhile machine? So that's basically it. That there are worthwhile machines. How do you find them? I have long articles on these things. One of the things I could do, I suppose, is start chatting with links to my articles. Let me see if I can quickly do that for you. I'm trying to make this like a seamless experience for you guys, but let me specifically answer that question. So what would be a good article for the topic of, let's see, blogs. Why don't I just give you my, there we go. I have a very popular article, or at least Google thinks so. Can you guess who controls your slot machine odds? So let me put the link in the chat messages. And this will get you started with some of the way I talk about things, and different aspects of this are actually elsewhere. So let me drop that into the chat. There you go. You're okay. So, people, you're just moved to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Please go to professorslots.com/LA. That's my state-by-state article for Louisiana, and that's my best thoughts on what's going on in Louisiana. Really, you want to look at the gaming regulations to see if there's anything there that tells you which slot machine denomination is better, that sort of thing. Everybody's a little bit different. Every state's a little bit different. Some don't offer that. Still finding the right slot is how to read results. So Ron asks, still finding the right slot is how to read results. It can be. What I've discovered, I call it my goodness ratio. You can look at the front screen of a slot machine where it shows 1 credit, 2 credit, 3 credit, however many, and has a top jackpot if it's not progressive. And you can look at that, and you could divide it by, let's say it's 3 credits, and it's $10,000. No, what's a more reasonable one? $2,400. Let's do $4,000 on a quarter machine for 4 credits. So you divide it by a quarter, which brings it down to 100. You divide it by 4 credits, which brings it down to 250. So you take the top jackpot, you divide it by the denomination, and you divide it by the number of credits that would be required to get that top jackpot. This is non-progressives only. That number was 400. All right. Well, if you go to the machine next to it, and it says 2,000 top jackpot, and then you do the same division. It's still a quarter machine, still 4 credits, and you get 200. Well, you want to play the machine that has a goodness ratio of 400, because if you're going to win, you're going to win more. Now, that's not necessarily a good machine. The one with the 200, the ratio for that's 200, is a bad machine. So just by looking at a slot machine without playing it, I cannot tell you if it is a good machine or not. What I can tell you is if it's a bad machine. And we're halfway there. So you want to have a machine that actually pays out well if it were to pay out. And you can just do that by the goodness ratio. So where I talk about that is pages. So right. Gotta have these right at my fingertips lately. Choosing slot machines. Right, there it is. So I'll put this link in there for you. This is this article, the page on my website discusses the goodness ratio and how you can tell which slot machines are bad and don't play those. And see, a point here and a point there, and the payout returns, all you need is something like 10 points, 11 points at the most, and suddenly you're making money. And if I've met so many people, so many people in my audience who have been winning, but they lose as much as they win. And I try to tell them, maybe your focus should be losing less because you're winning enough. So this is the point on that. And hey, if that statement doesn't grab you as far as being useful, I'm trying to think about slot machines. I'm trying to think about how casinos operate, how they work, and how we can take advantage of that. I can't tell you which game theme is better. You can have one machine next to another, and they're all the same game theme, and one of them is better. It's not about the game theme as much as the casino might want you to think that. All right, so people, if you have questions about Louisiana, you can email me or come back on next Saturday, or even wait a little bit. We'll see how it goes. 24 minutes in. Thanks for doing live sessions. Learned a lot in the last few days in Facebook group about Class 2 versus Class 3 slots I never knew. Denise, hey, sure, Oklahoma. That's the Facebook group, Oklahoma, for everybody else. Facebook.com/FBOK. And she had some questions about what's going on in Oklahoma. Very interesting state. It's about, I think it's like 45-55 ratio between Class 2 and Class 3 slot machines. Class 2 slot machines are allowed at tribal casinos even if they don't have a gaming compact. It's a federal law. but the state does have to have some form of gambling. So it's a type of competitive slot machine, often based on bingo. And then there's Class 3, which is basically your Las Vegas slot machine. And understanding that each of those has two different sources of gaming regulations, and whether or not you're protected as well, or various things. You need to, again, learning more about the gaming regulations for the state that you're gambling in will allow you to make some interesting decisions. I think a lot of people are coming into the groups, YouTube, visiting my website, just knowing that they're winning, but not understanding why. So I talk about why, and people are seeing things, and it's like, am I seeing this correctly? And believe me, I went through that myself. Right. So Tom asks, look for casino staff running around paying jackpots. Oh yeah. I walk into a casino. What I've been doing more and more of is walking into a casino I've never been to, because I might be in Pittsburgh, right? And I walk in and I sit down and I look. I did this in Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, and I did it for like 15 minutes, and there was nothing happening. There are plenty of people playing. $1 machines. You should occasionally have a jackpot and a hand pay, and none of them were happening. And I was like, oh, this is not a good place. And then because casinos are businesses, some nights are better than others. Like Las Vegas during the week is far better than Las Vegas during the weekend. And I talk about that in another article. People, let me know if it's anything on my end that I can help with problems with chat. Right. So in your case, if you want to know if Tuesday night, Tom, if Tuesday night's a good time to be at your casino, don't spend your money and find out it's not a good time. Look around at other people spending their money and seeing if you can figure out something that's going on. The downside is you're like, well, I was going to play that machine, but they won the jackpot on that machine. Oh, I should have played that machine. I've been on the receiving end of that. I've won a lot of jackpots, one after the other, 7 in one night, high limit area, so almost everything was a taxable jackpot. And I've had people get really upset saying, you took my machine. That was supposed to have been my jackpot. And I'm like, what? No, that's not how it works. It's the microsecond of which I push the button. It wasn't like you would have won if you'd sat down. It was, no. So, but people do get pretty excited about seeing other people win, and have to sort of get used to that. Right. Denise, I have done that, realized what times are best for payout and the best days. Wednesday is the worst where I play in Oklahoma. One of the things I do worry about, and even back before I started all this and I was winning, I was talking about it with my coworkers, right? And I'm like, if I tell them what casino, what night, what time, what slot machine, are they going to be sitting in that chair later? Maybe I shouldn't quite give that much detail. So when we have these Facebook groups and people are talking about, giving pictures of machines, I'm like, don't tell us exactly when. You can tell us which slot machine, that's fine. But, maybe not share Wednesday evening, although it really does get down to like half-hour segments. So as long as nobody really shares, I wouldn't want anybody to find another person with a Professor Slots shirt sitting at their chair. That would be sad. Right. Good point, losing less. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. Going through these greener pastures. Greener pastures, facebook.com/FB. And you can meet the other people from Oklahoma who have lots to say, and they are a chatty group. Right, Catherine. When the casino has tier or comp multiplier, our odds of winning not as good. The answer to that question is what you think it is. The odds are not as good. But why? It isn't you. It isn't if you get the comp. It isn't for that tier. When those comps are higher, the casino has a good business reason to not have the odds high. When they can adjust the odds for mornings, afternoons, and evenings, that would be a terrible time to have good odds for the casino. I mean, they do have some financial reasons to. They can't go too far off. They got to maintain a certain limit based on state law. But I never liked it when a casino would want me someplace. It's like any promotion. All right, there's rows of people. The parking lot's full, and there's 200 people in a line. I should tell you a story about that. I went into a casino to have a tournament, and there was a row of 200 people. And I was like, oh, and I went up to one of the slot attendants who's sort of like corralling people all in this row. And I'm like, is this the line? She says, well, unless you're a 7 stars at Horseshoe, that's what's top tier. Unless you're a 7 stars, yeah. And I'm like, and where do the 7 stars people go? And she's like, and everybody sort of stops talking. And they all turn to look at me, and their eyes are big. And I'm like, which way? And they're like, over there. And I'm like, I look over there, and there's like nobody in the line. So I go and do that. But it's, I took my sister to Las Vegas Caesar's Palace and introduced her to the Diamond Lounge. She may be on here. And gave her the companion card for 7 stars when I was investing in that and being a 7 stars. And there's this long line of people, third tier diamond status. And I just, I had to tell her, okay, hang on. We're going to go up through this line. We're going to go to the front. There's nobody there on that line, the one we are going to go through. But you got to be careful. I want you to experience what it's like to have all these eyes follow you, like kind of in the back of your neck, right? And I want you to strut, not too much, but a little bit. And let's just experience this together. And so we walked past, 50 people in line on a Tuesday morning before the 4th of July holiday at the Diamond Lounge in Caesar's Palace. And we got to the end of the line, and she was like, what was that? I'm like, yeah, well, we'll go in now, and the other people will wait. I can't do anything about it. It's top tier stuff. And like it was hard, but sorry. But she really enjoyed that experience, and I was happy to give her that experience. I had a hard time handling, sitting down at a slot machine, putting my card in, and within 30 seconds, somebody showing up and asking me if there's anything that I needed. That was a weird experience. Okay. But I don't, being a high limit is its own little thing, and it's not a big audience, so I only like to mention it occasionally. Okay, so questions. The odds of winning are, I would say it's not as good. It may be that it's not bad, but the casino has a good, solid business reason for it not to be good, and why wouldn't they? Never won on Wednesdays, and yes, that is senior day. Okay, Denise answered the question. Paul. Okay, that website shows pictures of their jackpot winners in front of a machine showing wins, denominations, dates of win for the year. Right. There is some places that will do that. But do they have the time? Because that matters. It's, for me, I always found it was like within 10 minutes. That's one of the other things I write about is not every casino has every winning strategy. Some casinos don't have any, but it's based on the business practices of the casino. But if you can figure out which one, if one, works at that casino, then there's consequences, and I try to write about those. Like, if they offer a taste at each slot machine, then you can use that against them and just take the taste and not keep on playing and spend all the money you brought with you as well as what you won. That's another website article. But some casinos will set up a good time to win, and you saw somebody win or you won yourself, so you leave, you come back a week later, 10 minutes earlier, and play through the same 5 minutes earlier, play through the same time period, and your odds are improved at those casinos that do that. Not every casino, but and that's okay. people's giving me more information here. Okay, that website shows pictures. Some of the patterns shown that no jackpots in the middle of the month, some on the same slot machines, etc. Yeah, please understand that the casino doesn't know this stuff. I mean, when I say the casino, I mean the people who work at that casino. There might be an executive somewhere. There might be an accountant somewhere. But they're not talking to the slot attendants. They're not talking to the people who are in charge of marketing. There's just like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing, and the right hand's in another state. Okay, so yeah, if you find that information, go check it out. Do something very careful, making sure that you can afford to lose the money, and test your theory. I'm an experimentalist. I run the experiment. Right. So also on Fridays they have a drawing. Past week jackpot winners 4,000. Previous winners for that week. Plus, if you show up in person, they double the $4,000 amount. See, that's the other thing that I wanted to say about for Karen is sometimes they screw up the rules on these promotions, and you go through them and you're like, wow, no, I'm going to totally be there because who wrote this stuff? It's I won the car that way. I won a car in case there's an article on that. And the host was telling me I was only in that casino. I was only second from the top tier, not the top tier. At that time, I didn't never really go past it because the way you win there, you didn't spend a lot of money. You won a lot of money, you didn't spend a lot of money. But 2:00 in the afternoon, talking to the host on a Sunday, Friday, and they were like, "Going to come to the drawing tonight?" And I'm like, "No, why would I?" Well, you have entries for every $100 you spent, and I'm like, "Really? How many $100 did I spend in the last 3 months?" And they looked it up, and it was like 257 or something. I won more than that, but I was like, I have 257 entries. And you have to, your odds go up the more entries you have. And I thought about how many people would be in the casino because you know how large the parking lot is. And I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, I'll be here. But then I was like, well, it's other aspects of this which are important. I went over and took a look at the car and went to Kelley Blue Book to estimate how much a used car with 10 miles, because it's off the dealership, it's sold to the casino, how much it would be worth with 10 miles, fully loaded. Mercedes-Benz E350 at the time, and I found out how much I could get for it if I were to sell it, not new, and the cash option was $4,000 more. So I went with the cash option rather than getting the car. So these sorts of things are you look at a promotion and you're like, what kind of idiot wrote this? Yeah, I'm going. And so that's something to watch for as well. It's really an advantage play. Okay. Do you think there's an advantage playing without a card? Thanks, Tom. The question is, do you think there is an advantage playing without a card, disregarding comps, of course? I have a hard time disregarding comps. I mean, I will answer your question disregarding comps, but that's a huge thing. For many people, that's the only profit they get is the comps. So, okay, I'll disregard the comps. Okay, we just let go of a lot of money. No, I get this question. I think I'm always going to be answering this question because I don't work for a casino. I'm not inside, and even if I were, I would only be in that casino and not 5 other casino operators or 50 other casino operators, and maybe really it's the slot manufacturers. I cannot tell you definitively, based on software programming, that using the player's card does not affect the odds. But it would be crazy if it did. Legally, they would be in so much trouble. It's just not a good idea. It would be bad. I'm going to very quickly check to make sure my status is still good. Well, I just love having better broadband. So I don't think that it is ever going to happen. But having a convincing answer. Gamblers are naturally suspicious, maybe even downright paranoid. But the way I put it is casinos have so much to lose. So much to lose. I mean, their business is shut down. Casinos are unlike any other business that I know of. They actually have to be ethical. Hospitals don't. Lawyers don't. I mean, you can get in trouble when you have a bad reputation, but not shut off. Not turned off the next day. Yank your gambling license, you're done. It's like, casinos have to have key employees, which is a lot of the executives and other crucial people, key employees. They have to be. It's like a background check. They have to be ethical people. What other company has that? I mean, sure, you'd want to be ethical, but required to be ethical? It's just such, they're risking the whole company, and by doing something like that, which is clearly, if it wasn't illegal, it is still going to be terrible. You, me, everybody in the chat, everybody's going to be, would be like tremendously upset if that ever got out that they were doing that. And we could have another prohibition in America if it gets bad enough. Just social mores will change, and they know that. It's their livelihood, and they're already making money without doing that. What, they want to make more money? Okay, so you got that point. You won that one. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I wish I could prove it for you and diagram it out, but I just can't see them ever doing that unless... well, the one place I did see this, or one place that I've been convinced by one of my audience members, is in Kentucky, which doesn't have Class 3 slot machines, does not, the Las Vegas style, does not have Class 2 bingo style, competitive style slot machines. They have historic horse racing machines, which are neither of those things. And I'll get to you in a second time. And those have such shallow gaming regulations that I believe it when one of the people in my audience is from Kentucky and plays those machines says, "Hey, I don't put my card in the machine because it obviously changes the odds, and there's no protection. It's not covered in the gaming regulations. It's so." It's an amusement machine sort of a deal, and real money, real amusement machine, and it's just, they could do it because it's not illegal. But anything having to do with like a Class 2, Class 3, state law, federal law covered, they just wouldn't risk it. Right. Tom, do you think there is an advantage playing without a card? Got that? Okay, your car win was awesome. Advantage play. I agree. Thank you, people. I took the cash. If there's any family on the chat, they will have heard me said, I'm not a Mercedes kind of guy. I'm a Jeep Wrangler kind of guy. So I spent 3/4 of the cash payout and went out and got myself a new Jeep. So that was what I did with it. The rest didn't even have to pay much taxes on it because it was a 1099 miscellaneous, and you can deduct. That's a promotional prize, not a W2G, and you can record good gambling records. It's not as much of a tax burden as you might think. Okay, what about high limit slots? One of the questions, that's a very general term, question. What about high limit slots? But the question that I've gotten in the past about high limit slots is, do they have better odds? And they don't, except when they do. It's about 50-50. So let me go find another article for you. This one would be, what is it? Payout returns. Find that. Oops, not that one. Payout. See if I can find that article. I'm sure I must have it. Oh, that's a page. Blogs. I haven't edited. One of the things I was worried about, that I would be doing here is, was another one. Yep. Okay. Is I find being an entrepreneur, which is what I am, to be fascinating, and I love talking about it. But you're interested in slots and not how to pay for a website, or have a podcast or set up a YouTube channel, all that. So I just put into the chat. Let's see, top financial benefits of slot machine payout returns. And in there, you'll find a section on myths about payout returns. And one of them is that high-limit slot machines pay out better. And this is something that I do have data on. This is something that is from the state. It is not from rumor or someone who told somebody who told somebody who told somebody. This is official data from various state websites that are reporting return statistics. And so no messing around here. And these 5-6 states actually report statistics by slot machine denomination. And half of them, the high limit machines, meaning what, $1, $5, $1 really, because if it's a 4-credit bet, then that's a $4 bet. There's a cutoff where you might decide where high limit begins, but $5, $25, $100 bets are definitely high limit. Those show as being the best returns for about half of those places that provide slot machine denomination payout returns statistics. And half the time, it's a quarter machine or a dime machine. Or a nickel machine. It's all very clear in the data. So sometimes they're better to play. And if you know statistics, one of the key tenets that they say is past results do not indicate future results. And this is a common mistake people make. Yet, if a casino is showing that the dime machine has a good payout for the last 10 months, we will make assumption that the next month, which we're living through, would also have that. And maybe it will. And like I said, if you need 10% each point, 10 payout return points to get above 100%, because the state says on average it's 92, 91, 90%. It's 91%. You add 10%, you're at 101%. And suddenly, on average, over long term, you're making money. And so a little bit here, a little bit there, and then even if you don't go over 100%, your money is being stretched. And it's surprising how much it's being stretched by it. A 1-hour session in the casino and you spend all your $100 is suddenly 2 hours. And so that's how I'm trying to help people. But if people have a question about high limits, I've done quite a bit of that. Parimutuel betting, people, that is horse races. Win, place, or show. And there's a variety of different things. You can have horses, dogs. The horses could have harnesses. It could be thoroughbreds. It could be a variety of different kinds of horse races. But the idea, it's really the setup where there's a purse, right? And a lot of people are betting, and they choose who they want to win. Usually it's win, place, or show. Who comes in first, who comes in second, who comes in third. There's a variety of those things. And how many people and how much they bet on each of those positions in the win and the results will determine the odds. It's a betting system. And then if they get it right, then they get a proportion. Whoever gets it right gets a proportion of what was bet, not the full amount. This is where the money comes from to reward the winner, the horse, the owner of the horse. So some of that, if they win some of the bets. The betting money, a purse, and that's sort of the parimutuel setup. Horse racing, dog racing, where you make a bet. Right. Denise, I used a card at first years ago and never won. Took card out and have won since. Now see, this is, Denise, you just found out you're playing Class 2 games, okay? There may be a question there whether that's true for Class 2. I know historic horse racing, I'm confident. In Kentucky, at least that one place what that gentleman was telling me about, that's a problem. And Class 2, I'm undecided. It's only Class 3 that it would be crazy for them to have a connection. So maybe you don't use it for class 2. I don't want you to do it. For you, you've shown me pictures of your jackpots. I don't want to mess with it. All right. You're winning. All right. I'm not going to mess with that. Don't make a serious change. All right. Don't change your diet. Don't change anything. That's a little superstitious, but, you're doing well. If you want to make a change, any change you make, I would make it a small change and then give it time and see if it mattered. Okay. Tom, hey, you're welcome, Tom, for my doing this. You have to run and pick up $100 Visa card now. Oh, he has to go to the casino. Understood. Let's see. I've got maybe another 10 minutes left. I'm going to check some of the stats here. If anybody has a question, I didn't even get to mine. All right. Yeah. Okay. We still have a good connection. The stats are still good. Looks like a couple more comments. Probably got another 9 minutes or so left. I want to keep it at an hour and see how it all worked out. This will be available. I'll close out in another 9 minutes. Questions. Let's see. Your thoughts on sweepstakes, nudge, skill games versus real, regular casino slots. It seems sweepstakes, the last of that was cut off. Let's see. Oh, I was also told on YouTube you can only get like 2 comments every 30 seconds. So if people are trying to comment more than that, it's not a rule that I can set. It's something YouTube makes sure that no one person gets more comments than everybody else. So yeah, sweepstakes, nudge, skill games versus regular casino. Wise version. How about sending me an email at john@professorslots.com, where John is spelled Jon, and explain a little bit more what you mean by sweepstakes. It might help me if I knew which casino or state. So because a lot of this is going to be state law, and I when you said skill games, I'm going to have to say probably Oklahoma, and it seems sweepstakes. Which state are you in? There's 5, 6 states. Wise Virgin has posts the statistics by slot machine denomination. So you've got a 5 in 50, 1 in 10 chance of it being your state, and you can look to see what the actual data is. No need to guess; it'll be right there. So whatever your state is, there's a 2-letter designation for it. ProfessorSlots.com/IA for Iowa. Right, so convenience store machines. Nevertheless, okay. If you're in Wyoming, North Dakota, Wisconsin, those all have illegal gaming machines in convenience stores. And there's one of them that they can have up to 5, and the casino, the store owner doesn't even get in trouble. They just they take them away. They take away the machines, not the person. They're illegal, but there's no penalty. So gaming regulations are your friend, and if these are legal machines, then check your state to see what they say about those machines. Some states, the state of Washington, those are amazing. They're run by the lottery commission, the state lottery, and there's even a way to find out what the payout returns are on the machine itself. I could wish more. They're like a model for everybody else on how things could be done if you have a VLT machine. But it really does depend which state you're on. So please check your state. ProfessorSlots.com/ the name of your state, 2-letter postal designation. If it seems like the sweepstakes pay out less, you know what? I trust you, right? You trust you. If that's what you're sensing, believe it. The hardest part I've had is like, is this really what's happening? I can hardly believe it, but then you're like sitting there going, do I take the car or do I take the cash? And for me, the hard part has not been losing. I don't mean to be depressing or anything. It's the story of my life or something like that. But I'm used to losing. And the hardest part for me on all this stuff has been winning. So yeah, if the payout seems less, then by golly, maybe it is. But there are some places you can go to check the data to see if it in fact is less. Sometimes it's not available. You could wish for more states having this, and maybe they will. If I can educate more people in the country about the value of having these things, maybe they tell their representative, their senator, and we make things happen. I mean, I would love to change the world. So far in my life, I haven't even done it once, and I would like to. So maybe this is something that we can invoke a change if we get to be a big enough group, or we have a voting situation, because a lot of the gaming stuff is responsive to that. Okay, so we are at 2:55, 2:56. Last chance to ask questions. People, what do you think of single line method of AP play, promoted by SD Guy 1234? Let me make a note of that. I will go take a look at his video. Let me grab that screen capture. I know of him. I have heard good things of him. I have not. Okay, I captured that. I have not looked at that video, and I'll take a look. If you email me, I'll be able to respond back to you. Right now, I can't respond back to you. John@professorslots.com, or John is Jon, and let me know so that when I figure that out, or not, if it's interesting enough, if I think there's something going on there, if there's, if it's not kind of meh. I reviewed a casino, and I thought about writing an article about it, but I'm like, what am I supposed to call the title of the article? So if it's anything of usefulness there, anything I think might be of interest to you guys, I'll write a review of it, and you'll find it there. But if it's not, doesn't make the cut, then maybe you should email me so I can just let you know what I think. Okay, last questions. Remember, you can come back, of course, you can come back and, let's see, I want to switch over to, right. Remember, we're going to try to do 2 o'clock again next week, despite football games, unless I get a clear indication that there's a better time rather than a worse time. And we shall see how this all plays out. Thank you very much for coming to visit. I appreciate the support. I had a bunch of things I wanted to talk about and a few technical difficulties, but this is just how things work. I will get better. But I do appreciate all the questions. I didn't even get to mine. Hey, you're welcome, Denise. A Slots Strategies Summit. I'm too small, honestly. These things cost $15,000 to put together. I mean, rental space. I've done conferences with 300 people, not for slots, but I've helped run those things, and I have an idea how much it costs. And we're not big enough just yet. Tell a friend, have them join the podcast or the YouTube channel or the Facebook groups, and we will grow. And when we grow, that's totally on the table. But right now, best I can do right now is Facebook groups. And if we can start doing local meetups, if those get to be too large, we might go city by city, something like that. People, hey, you're welcome. And you're welcome, Catherine. And down in the last few seconds, any questions? All right. I'm going to shut it down as soon as I figure out how. And have fun. Be safe. Make good choices. Bye.